Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hope you are having a great day. If you can hear me, please put a thumbs up in the chat box so that I will know that I am being heard. If you'd be so kind. Today is February 16th, 2024. We want to catch the pre-market right before it opened. So we'll jump right on that. The Dow futures is currently down 0.28%. The S&P futures is down 0.10%. The Nas futures is up 0.14% as of right now. So the S&P 500 futures slide as yields jump on another hot inflation report. Asia, Japan's Nikkei nears all-time highs. Hong Kong leads gains in Asia. ASX 200 is up 0.69%. The Nikkei is up 0.86%. Kospi is up 1.34%. HSI, which is Hong Kong, is up 2.48%. And Shanghai is up 1.28%. Hello, Tanya Davis. For Germany, the Euro stocks extend gains. UK retail sales outperform. NatWest up 5% after profit beat. DAX is up 0.46%. FTSE is up 1.43%, which is the most. CAC is up 0.38%. FTSE Milano, which is MIB, is up 0.22%, and Stock 600 is up 0.56%. For the United States, this is showing unchanged, but I was looking for what was last reported, but we had 38,773 and 12 cents for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. 5,029.73 for S&P 500. The NASDAQ was 15,906 and 17 cents. And the Russell 2K was up 2.45%. And currently the VIX is actually up 2.28%, which when the VIX goes up traditionally or in terms of expectations, we could expect the stock prices to go down because they have an inverse relationship. So we will see how these end up going in terms of as it gets closer to the open and for the time frame for the 15-minute people who trade the 15-minute. Hello, Lisa Henry. So what we have for yesterday, this chunk here is what happened on yesterday. This is the 15-minute chart where it opened down here, and this was 5,003. And so when it closed, it was up here. Close was 50.29. So that's a $26 increase based on yesterday. I believe over the past couple of days, we had a couple, at least one gap I remember seeing that's clearly been filled. I think it was, it must have been between here and here. So it had gapped down on the 12th. So from the 12th to this one right here, it had gapped down and was trying to fill it on the 15-minute chart. And it did that yesterday somewhere around 1:15 and kept going up. So this is where it landed, and this is what it looks like on the daily chart. Obviously, the S&P 500 is at highs right now. So these are, and the opening bell has started. These are the highs that it has been, the highest it has been. So it'll be interesting to see how this keeps morphing into pullbacks and things of that nature. But this is what we got going on right now. And so obviously there's a lot of people who trade the first 15 minutes. So we're going to leave this on the 15-minute chart, and then we will come back to it throughout the broadcast. But make sure we keep that where it can be seen. All right. If you are somebody who has not charted before, or you are interested in doing more charting, we have the Start with the Chart.com, which is a charting webinar that is offered by E2T. So go ahead and check that out. I think it's great for if you are somebody who already charts, but just likes to see what other tips and things of that nature you can pick up. I'll definitely encourage that. PC is plugged in. All right. Can y'all hear me? Can I be heard? Let's try this again. Now you can. All right. I don't know what happened. My whole system just shut down. So let's go back to present, share screen. Try this again. Try this again. All right. I don't know what that was all about. We'll keep it pushing. All right. So for the first couple minutes, we have a serious drop. I shouldn't say serious because this is on the 15-minute chart, but it is a nice little red candle to start the day. I'll say that. But let's bounce around to a couple other things real quick. For our Forex factory information, this morning we had the core PPI, and Lisa Henry says she can't hear. Michelle can hear. Tanya can hear. So I got some people that can't hear me. Okay. A Royal Diadem, hello. Karen C, hello. Michelle Roberts, hello. Adrian Dupree, hello. Tanya and Lisa, hello. So I guess there's some people who still can't hear, but it looks like most people can. So we're gonna go with the majority. So the core PPI was a red folder. The actual was greater than forecast. This is for month over month. Good morning, Tamar. The PPI red folder was better than forecast by 2%. That was red folder. The orange folder was building permits, and this was all at 8:30. Not as great as forecast. Housing starts was yellow folder, also not as great as forecast. At 9:10, FOMC member Barr spoke. We got 10 o'clock. The red folder is the preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment We are still not sure who they are asking questions to, but that happens at 10 o'clock, and this is a red folder. The orange folder is the preliminary University of Michigan inflation expectations. And then at 12:10, and that's an orange folder. At 12:10, we have the yellow folder, FOMC member daily is speaking. For investing.com, there is a whole lot more stuff that pops off. But investing.com has a lot more details anyway. So it's the same stuff that we just read over. There's just a couple smaller details that are put in there. And other, this is 1 through 3 stars instead of folder colors. But what they do is they'll do like year over year, like PPI year over year, which is 1 star. And then they'll break it down month over month. Housing starts for January, things like that. The housing starts for January. So this didn't go as well as expected. Bar spoke, we got that. The inflation expectations, this is starting at the 10 o'clock time frame. So these are 2 stars. They got the 1 year and the 5 year inflation expectations. Those are 2 stars. Again, 10 o'clock. The consumer expectations for February, the consumer sentiment for February, and then the Michigan current conditions, which is only 1 star. Everything else is 2 stars, all at 10 o'clock. At 11:30, we got the Atlanta Fed GDP now for the Q1, which is 2 stars. And then 12:10, again, 2 stars for member daily speaking. And then the rest of this is, 1 o'clock, you have 2 stars for the U.S. Baker Hughes oil rig count. And then you have the total rig count, right? Those are 2 stars. And so after 1 o'clock, couple hours space, almost like a breather. And then starting at 3:30 is when you start hitting the, you got the CFTC aluminum speculative net. A lot of it is the speculative net positions. So most of these, you got the first 3 are the 1 star, which is aluminum, copper, corn. And then at same time frame. So this is I'm sorry, I might have said 2:30. I meant 3:30. And then you have 2 stars for the crude oil, gold, and the NASDAQ 100. And then we also have 1 star for the natural gas, 2 stars for the S&P 500 speculative net positions. And then the other 1 star is silver, soybeans, and wheat. And so we have a run of that starting at 3:30. Yeah, 3:30. So that's a nice little list of things that's happening that's sprinkled throughout the day. All right, so that's something to definitely be aware of as we move forward. Good morning, Lady T. Before market open today, we had Arbor, Air Canada, Advance 6, Cinemark, Treehouse, Liberty Broadband, Portland Electric, PPL, Healthcare Realty, and American Axle and Manufacturing. And if you're thinking, I have never heard of those companies, don't worry. You are probably not going to be alone. I have heard of Air Canada and Cinemark because they're in Cinemark is in the theater. These other ones I have not heard of, but I'm not knocking them. We don't have anything on the calendar for this weekend for the E2T events. So these are the rest days. We are still doing the small account challenge, which will be going on for the next 2 weeks. I would imagine that we are probably still accepting people into it. But I'm guessing there's people who are following just online as is. If you are new to options, You might want to take a look at the E2T options 411 course. E2T options 411. I would highly encourage you to take a look at that. That is currently on the banner. Let's swing back to. So we're in 10 minutes. This is a 15-minute chart. This is the SPX opening candle. So yeah, there's some stuff happening. I will expect resistance at 50.13, something like that. Maybe even 50.16, I guess. But we'll come back and check on that as well. Let's take a look at what Mancini. So this is the Anna Mancini numbers that we use for the people who trade the S&P 500, SXP, SPY, things of that nature. Next mini dip is underway in SPX following today's PPI release. 50.29 to 50.31 was support as posted, with failure triggering down to 50.11. 5,001. We are coming into 50.11 now. RSI already buried. Bulls need to hold the zone to work up the levels. If 5,001 fails, we start to sell to 49.81 first. So 5,001 is what I will put on my chart as a key number for Mancini. And oops, gotta do that again. 5,001. So I know that that is a bottom, or shall I say a point where it could turn around. In terms of the breaking point turnaround if you're in the trade, 5,001 is what we're looking at. In case it fails, we'll be going down to 49.81. So that is something to be looking at. All right. So 5,001. Right. This is the number that you're looking for before it keeps going down. So if it breaks past that, it can keep going down here. So we'll definitely be coming back to take a look at that. We already did earnings, and we want to go back to stocks real quick just to look at the futures. So the Dow futures is currently down 0.31%, S&P futures down 0.19%, and NAS futures down 0.12%. If you have any stock tickers that you want to take a look at, you can drop those in the chat box. The only one that I saw as a request was TQQQ. So what this is saying, there was a gap here that is trying to fill. It bounced off the daily price point and weekly price points above and below current price. So this is what we got going on right now. This is an ETF for Triple Q. It did a slight pullback on the 13th, a few days ago, and it was coming into a sell zone, but it is fighting through a gap. It's currently what's happening right here. So this right here is Actually, this is the gap. Pull this up here. So when they gap down from there. So it's trying to fill right here. Bouncing up against that. Could be up a little higher, but if you were so I'm just marking the gap right here. But if you were doing this as a formation, it would be leg in, one in the base, and then a gap down for a leg out. So you still would have it marked up here anyway. Regardless. I'll do it this way. For those of you who are who chart in a similar way, I'm looking for this one. All right. I'm not going to clutter up the whole chart, but so this will be essentially, that'll be like a gap down. So leg in, base, leg out right here. This will be leg out. So this is the seller zone up here. This is the buyer zone down here. And 56 to 59. This is a $3 difference between the zones, and $1 and some change in risk, at least down here. So, but yeah, leg in, base, leg out, and then leg in, base, leg out. So both of these zones are on top of each other is essentially what that's saying. For those that need a better visual, because sometimes it's hard for people to see without seeing the full line or what have you. We can do this. And I'm using Thinkorswim for this. I know some people will do TradeStation or forgot the name of the other one, TradingView. Yeah. So basically, these are the zones. Remember that they're just zones. Areas where price turn around, where buyers and sellers are. Obviously, there's some sellers up here because of how strong this push was coming down, but then there's definitely some buyers in here as well because of this pressure that's pushing up here. So this gap is holding up for right now, but the overall trend of TQQQ is it is on an uptrend, and the pullbacks have been very slight. These pullbacks have not pulled back that far at all lately anyway. So, you know, outside of this one, I mean, this was okay, but there's no deep pullbacks. But with these zones on top of each other, I would expect there to be something happening pretty soon because at least on the day chart anyway, I would expect there to see something happening. Other than that, I don't see any tickers in there, so that must be good. All right, so let's go back and see what's happening on the 15-minute chart. All right. So this has hit a level, and there has not been a breakout yet. And if I recall right, when we looked yesterday, we really didn't see a breakout yesterday within the first, 15, 30, 40. So whatever the length of that call was yesterday, I don't remember seeing a breakout for that. So with this being, I'm going to mark this as the first 15-minute candle. And so I will have that. I'll give it like something like this. And if you do the breakout, obviously this looks like it could break out coming down this way, but still fresh in the day to be able to tell which direction. But I can say that this would have been probably when it broke past that, this was a strong one. This price point has been support before multiple times, and so it finally broke down support. And then yeah, about 50.14, 50.16, that's where it's coming down to. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out for the breakout, for the folks who are doing the breakout. See, Taiwan Semiconductor. So what is happening here is I interpreted stuff according to how I chart it, then I take it off and then clean it up for you guys. But what I'm seeing here is on a trend line for the weekly, on the weekly chart, price is bouncing off of the trend line from the weekly chart, and it's stuck between a parity line, which is a repeating support and resistance price that's on the daily. But there's a strong price point on these are basically two trend lines. I'm saying that wrong. This is the trend line that's on the diagonal, but this other line that is crossing right here is just a line that is signifying a repeating price point. And so I'm not surprised that it bounced off of there, but so I got two trend lines here that is basically connecting, and that's where it bounced off of, and is sitting above a gap for TSM. So clear it up. So it is trying to break through this gap right now because it gapped up, and it's done a little bit of moving. So we'll do probably like right there, something like that. Close. It's close. So that's roughly 126 to 120. So that's $1 and some change right there. So yeah, this gap here, and you'll notice that a lot of gaps will create support or resistance. In this case, it could be support. That doesn't mean that it's gonna hold up forever just because it's a gap. But it is to say that since it pushed up and it gapped up, that direction means that there's buyers. This is a buyer's gap. So when it comes back down, I'm not surprised to see that it got pushed up here. It may even get pushed up here today. Who knows? But yeah, this will definitely be something to watch. So we'll see what's happening here. If I was getting into this today, I mean, I probably, somebody was saying in the chat that they got into this, so they were into this already. If I was getting into this today, I would be looking at a call credit spread up here. The thing to keep in mind too, if in case you didn't know, the third Friday of every month is usually some type of what they call witching. Today is one of those days where you get different types of options are closing, and I think it's like options futures and something else. But if you look up the term double witching and triple witching, I'm putting this in the chat box. So I'll just say search. No, I'll say Google double witching, triple witching. But it can be a volatile time frame. On like it's usually the third Friday. So it can be volatile in the market on those third Fridays. And so that could be, unpredictable as well, depending on what's happening. And I only bring that up because none of the earnings that we saw today were really any of the main heavy hitters. Let's say tech and things of that nature. I guess that if anything, maybe yesterday would have been. So I guess this morning could have contributed to some stuff, but in terms of just this morning, there wasn't a big, any of the big dogs happening. Air Canada is in the I guess transportation space, but it's not one of the airlines. It's like Delta and one of those other ones, Southwest, that you would expect to see movement in the market. So what I'm saying with all of the drop is just it could be some of anything, but I didn't really see any heavy hitters making that happen. So all that being said, this is TSM, so I'll be doing a CCS, and since it's expiring today, you may not see too much of anything that is happening. So the premiums probably are not going to be as delicious as one might like. But what I see is probability out of the money. This is 129. If you add 126.4, this is not investment advice. I'm just somebody brought up. What is that? My calculator is not pulling up. If you're looking for a range, you can take 126.43, which is the current price, and you can add that to this broker plus. We call this a broker plus minus right here. In this case, I'm gonna add it to it. 1.64, so 128.07. I would need to be higher than 128.07. Is there gonna be any premiums right there? Because today is the day of, so this would be the premiums. What is that? $4? Nope, I'm good. But it's something to take a look at. The premiums probably would be higher at the bottom just because price is coming closer to it. So if I subtracted that same amount, 124. This is my this is a SIM account. And so I'm put these in, like these are expiring today, as a matter of fact. Anyway, premium's not that great, so I wouldn't be getting this trade today regardless. Nike is the other one that I saw on the list that somebody mentioned. So this is the daily for TSM. Recently it's on the downtrend, but overall this week it has been really the past couple weeks since January, it's been definitely shooting up. But TSM is in that semiconductor space, and this gap up right here may have been caused by another company saying that they were going to partner with TSM. So I believe that might have been caused by some positive news happening, if I recall right. And we'll look at Nike. See what Nike's talking about. Nike just had a gap down. Nike has a crazy gap above it. And activate. So that's the gap for Nike. That's $1.05 to $1.04. It's about $1, less than $1. But this gap up here, wow, this must have been earnings, I'm guessing. Earnings, I'll put it right here. Something like that. The gap, thank you. Was it NAB 2030? Nike 122 to 110. That's a $12 gap. Okay. This is another one of those. The gap is creating that it's creating resistance right here, but it's also helping form the formation, leg in, base, leg out. So this is a very strong leg out right here. To be honest with you, I know I have multiple types of people on this call who chart different ways, so I'm trying to make sure we cover enough of it. I actually like this one up here. I probably would do something like that. You could do it this way. I mean, it's a small leg in regardless. Leg in, base, leg out. But acknowledge that strong leg though. I prefer the stronger leg out. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's the startwiththechart.com. That is, I would highly encourage you to check that out. Startwiththechart.com, so you can get some information on charting. So this is leg in, base, leg out. This is the seller zone. Leg in, base, leg out. This is the buyer zone. $100, 105. It's a $5 difference. This is looks like it's dropping into a buyer zone. Overall, Nike has been, I guess recently, you can consider that a downtrend if you're counting from December. More than likely, this whole thing just might be a pullback, and it may continue up. Who knows? They'll probably get the act together once they stop fighting with Kanye about them shoes that they try to get rid of. But this is definitely, this $100 is definitely a price point that it has been to, what I would call a repeating price point. Like 101-ish. It was resistance. I mean, it was support right here, resistance here, support here. So this whole area, this whole zone has been repeating. So this may not even come all the way down into it. Who knows? But let's see. I'm gonna see what the ATR. The ATR for Nike is $2.33. So it's got a little bit of traveling to do today. So it could come down there. They don't have earnings today, so you know. But anyway, so that's something to watch. And then we'll go back and check out SPX. See what's going on. then thou shalt have thine freedom. So this was the breakout. This 5001 was the Mancini turning point in terms of if it broke through there, it could drop further. So it bounced off of here. This is the 15-minute chart. It bounced off of here. And the buyers sent that up, which is no surprise really, because it happened right here too, really strong. So it is outside of that 15-minute. I do not do the 15-minute trading, but the fact that it did come out of here, I would imagine that some people probably already got in and started working it from that angle. So yeah, this is something to be watched. Yeah, there's something to be watched, but it is outside of the 15-minute. I guess my concern would be, because I would be watching it a little bit longer to see if it bounces off this a little bit more. But based on what we see right now, it is definitely outside of that 15-minute time frame. And the rest of the day, I guess we'll be watching it. And don't forget, this is this for the day so far, this is the highest point. So it'll be interesting to see what other things that are being reported on our list. And don't forget that we still have stuff going on, through 3:30 that are still 1 and 2 stars. So it's definitely something to watch. If you're familiar with the PDT hack, you definitely want to be paying attention to that. So somebody said they have a 50-50 CCS. 50-50 CCS. Well, by the time I got into it, it'd have been here. That's a five spread. Yeah. That's something I would have to have gotten into way earlier. But about 532, 535, 540. So yeah. Somebody got in there at a good time. This is a 5 spread. 540, 32. Yeah. I'll probably be looking at that. I definitely be doing CCS, that's for sure. If I was getting in, I'll still be probably waiting about another. I'll probably be looking at 10:30, but that's just how I am. The 10 o'clock turnaround, that's a phrase that we use. 10 o'clock turnaround, you've probably heard that before. What I'm about to say is not set in stone, but I will say that I would encourage you to go to forexfactory.com, forexfactory.com. And we take a look at this each day. But what I can say about Forex Factory is you can almost guess why there's a 10 o'clock turnaround, because each day you can see something happening around 10 o'clock. So this was yesterday from 9:15, and this is just the US, but from 9:15 to, and I'm not saying that it's a 1-for-1 proposition, meaning just because something happens at 10 means that's why it's turned around. But even if you started at the open or before the open, really, but the earliest that we have here is we got these red and orange folders. All this can contribute to whatever's happening. And that 10 o'clock turnaround seems to be rather consistent on the charts. Nothing much was going on then. This is 8:30, so we got these numbers here. This is right before open, so a lot of stuff, by the time we see it, once the market opens, it's catching up to overnight activity and all kinds of things. But this is Forex Factory is a good site. Go to forexfactory.com and then go to the calendar. And I would definitely encourage you to check that stuff out. And because these things repeat, you can see what's going to be coming up. In subsequent weeks, and get an idea from that perspective. So it looks like we are out. It is yeah. So this is pushing up, and it looks like the buyers are taking over this candle on the 15-minute chart. So yeah, this should be an interesting day, and should be interesting to see how it ends. I shall not hold you all hostage at any further. Again, start with thechart.com if you want to get more information about charting. Otherwise, I definitely think the options 411 introduction course is a really good course to get started with. E2T options 411.com. I definitely highly recommend if you're new to options. So we're going to do our E2T daily declaration. By faith, I am a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me because money is comfortable around me. It is drawn to me. E2T daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolios. All right, everybody. You know your mandate for today is to stay green and get this money. And if you are in the Telegram group, we will drop these Mancini numbers in there right away. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in. And make sure you all inbox Larissa, say hello, let her know what's up. And we will talk to you all later. And we'll see you on this coming Monday. All right. Have a good one.